here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you on Wake Up Call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So appreciate you being here. Wherever you are, we thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I got an awesome show here for you this morning, as we always do on a Thursday. We've been doing it sometimes on a Friday, but Thursday is our day. So we will be here Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time with the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented exclusively by Myers Creek. So I thank you for those of you that shifted with us to Friday. We will be on Thursdays with the Player of the Week, and Papa Joe will be joining me after I announce that. PJ and I will be talking about the Major League Baseball season, and beyond that, we will go from the Major League Baseball season into the 2026 NFL Draft. Today is Draft Day. I can't believe it. I've been thinking about it for a while, thinking about it for the last few months, and it is officially today. I got a bunch of friends that are in this draft. Shout out to my Enrique Cruz Jr., Dan Villari, Jack Stonehouse, Will Nixon, and so on, and Trayvon Saunders, Damon Barnes, and so on and so forth. So big time shout out to all my guys that are in the draft that is going on starting today, and it'll carry all the way through Saturday. Your boy's going to be watching it all. I'm going to be like this. So I'll be watching the draft all the way through. I'm wearing my Blake Bortles jersey today. This is the Color Rush. This is the officially official. Got the nice emblem raised here. Got the Jaguars patch. So this thing looks like I've never worn it. It's so nice and fresh. So shout out to Blake Bortles. We'll be talking about the NFL Draft here today with Papa Joe. And PJ doesn't know this, but I'm about to tell you all this. I will be on site, on location at Pizza Man Pub tonight. So we did it for a couple of years. Then last year I was in Italy at this time. So today I'm back at Pizza Man, 50 Oswego Street, Baldwinsville, New York. We will be bringing you our live draft coverage at 7 p.m. from the stage of Pizza Man. So if you're here in Central New York and you're watching the draft, you might as well watch it with great food, great company, and an awesome broadcast. Wake Up Call will bring our live draft coverage on site to Pizza Man tonight, April 23rd, starting at 7 p.m. We'll give our mock draft at 7 p.m. And after we give our mock draft, which will run us probably from 7 to 8, we will be bringing you in-draft analysis of the picks themselves. So we're going to go before the draft with the mock draft, and then we're going to bring you through from that moment to in-draft analysis. So we're looking forward to doing that with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So make sure tonight you're watching the draft at Pizza Man with us. I'm happy to have Jeff Cook, a.k.a. Cookie, with me, and we've done this before, so looking forward to some great stuff going on where sports meets life. With that being said, let's hop right into the Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. My Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek, with 2 locations on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, as well as on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. My pick for this week, Finn Collins. Finn Collins of the Baldwinsville Bees. Baldwinsville Bees baseball team improving to 4-0 thanks to Finn, who helped the team get a 12-2 win at Liverpool with 3 RBIs in 3 at-bats. That's right, 3 times at bat, 3 runs batted in for Finn Collins of the Baldwinsville Bees baseball team, who have started off their season with a 4-0 record, the best record in the SCAC of Section 3 here in Central and Upstate New York. Finn Collins and the Baldwinsville Bees starting off strong, doing great things, and I want to give them a shout out. The Bees have been on the show before with many sports, and I wanted to put a spotlight on Finn because him and his teammates have done a tremendous job, and it was hard to pick my Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week just simply from the Baldwinsville Bees baseball team and what they did at Liverpool. But with 3 RBIs and 3 at-bats, we proudly announce that Finn Collins is our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, proudly presented by Myers Creek. Make sure you go over to Myers Creek and support local on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, as well as in the Syracuse Inner Harbor on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, PJ, how do you like that? A Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week, improving to 4-0 on the baseball side of things. What do you think about that, PJ? Us honoring a student athlete in the baseball world.
It's unfortunate these kids can't get on the ball field until to the middle of April. Down here they start playing ball in the middle of January, early February. But that's okay. They don't have a very long season of baseball up there. I know that. Yeah. That's all right.
Well, getting to see these baseball teams, and they do get to travel. They do get to go down south. The Baldwinsville Bees baseball team last year, I was on the same plane as them with my mom when we were down in Orlando when we were heading home. So shout out to them Bees and congratulations to them once again, which leads us perfectly into what we're talking about today, which is we'll start things off with Major League Baseball, then we'll head into the NFL draft. So PJ, your thoughts on the Major League Baseball world, where things are at right now, some teams that are doing well, some teams that are a little bit shaky right now. The Mets finally ended one of their worst streaks in many years. They had a many game when they were heading home for a 9-game stint. They were on an 11-game losing streak. So your thoughts on, I guess we'll start there. Your thoughts on the New York Metropolitans. How do you feel about them?
Well, I got a lot to go over.
Yeah.
I usually start with my statistics, so I'll start with the statistics first because it leads into what I'm going to talk about. American League, the Yankees are leading their division 15-9. They were 7-3 the last 10 games. Tampa's second at 13-11. The Central Division, you got Cleveland at 14-12. Detroit is 13-12. However, they closed some ground. They were 7-3 the last 10 games. And out west, the A's, can you believe this, are 13-12, leading the division. Texas is 12-12. Nothing's happening out there at all. In the National League, we got Atlanta leading 17-8, 8-2 in their last 10 games, leading the East Division. Miami at 12-13. Everyone else is far below, really sucky, especially the Mets. Cincinnati is 16-9 in the Central Division, 7-3 the last 10 games. However, the Cubs are 15-9, second place. They got a 9-1 record the last 10 games, so they're starting to creep up. Out west, it starts and ends with the Dodgers at 16-8. However, San Diego is also 16-8, and they were 82 in their last 10 games. San Diego is a huge surprise, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Average-wise in an American League, Jordan Alvarez of Houston is running away with things early. He's hitting .347. He got 11 home runs and 26 ribbies. He has been a force for the last 3 years in the middle of the Houston lineup, and they simply lead the league in hitting. National League average, James Woods of Washington. He's got 9 homers and 20 RBIs. No one is really hitting all that well in the National League. For pitching, this is something that's interesting, and my Angels finally, Jose Soriano of the Angels is 5-0 with a .24 ERA. Remarkable from a guy who couldn't throw strikes a couple of years ago. In the West, we got Smaka, ERA at 2.78. This is interesting here. The saves. Baltimore has 9 in the American League. Not saves opportunities, but 9. And for the National League, Atlanta's got 10. And I'll tell you something about San Diego then.
Yeah.
San Diego had 16 save opportunities last week, or so far this year. But they've only converted 10 of them. And most of them are done by a guy named Mason Miller, who was drafted in 2024. He's starting to come into his own. He's absolutely filthy. He's ridiculously fast, hard-throwing right-hander, 6'5", 220. Got all sorts of pitches, got all sorts of angles. He has not given up an earned run this year.
Yeah.
At all. Not even an unearned run. Nothing. No one could hit them. Great to see. The Mets, you talked about the Mets earlier. They were 12. I watched that game last night. I was pulling for them to win, but they have no excuse. They got a very good lineup. The two studs they brought in are not doing the job for them. It's not working out for them. And I think Mendoza's going to have to do something. He's got to shake up the lineup or something. I don't know what else to say. I mean, they're terrible. They were terrible to watch. They're going to be terrible going forward too. They're never going to get out of this hole. Sure, they'll win a few games here and there, maybe have a 3 or 4 game winning streak, but no, not at all. Which is why the team pitching, the Dodgers they got a 2.80 ERA. That doesn't surprise anyone with hitting. And Houston's got the lowest ERA at 2.59. And they were the last couple of years have been leading the American League over there.
Yeah.
For the American League, the Yankees are hitting 316 as a team, and Atlanta 280 for as a team. Now, there's something strange going on with some of these teams, some of these big market teams. Now, our poor buddy Jerry over there at Marino, it's just the Phillies, Jerry. The Phillies are only hitting 220. That's barely above the Mendoza line. That's the team. They got 5 or 6 guys that they're not even batting the Mendoza line. How can you figure that out? Now on the other side of it, this is something even worse. The Yankees are leading their league. I said, 16-9, 15-9. They pitched, almost had three shutouts in a row the last 3 games. Last night, Boston scraped across 1 run in the 9th inning to break that streak at 2. But frankly, they had 3 shutouts in a row.
Yeah.
Why is that important? Because as a team, they're hitting 221, Daniel. 221 with all those big studs in that lineup. Judge, Mike Stanton, Cody Bellinger. It's ridiculous. Now, I'm going to have to rant and rave about something, but I'll let you yap for a while before I get my thoughts on a few things that are really griping me already beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I appreciate the overlook of what's going on in Major League Baseball as we're here with Papa Joe on Thursdays on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, letting you know what's going on in the baseball world here as we did a rundown of each of the divisions within the American League and the National League. I mean, things are back right to a lot of people, right? The Yankees are back on top over the last couple weeks. The Rays have been there with the Yankees. Before that, the Jays were there. And so now we have the New York Yankees at 15-9 and the Boston Red Sox, their adversary, at 9-15. Literally the flip of each other. And we look at the series that they've had with the Red Sox on the road. They beat them 4-0, 4-0, 4-1, and they will have their next game tonight at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Time on MLB TV, Fox, and FS1 as the Yankees look to take down the Red Sox. And they've already won this series. Now they're trying to go 3 in a row. So just definitely make sure you check that out and pay attention to what the Yankees are doing and where we're sitting at right now, as the Yankees are currently in first place and they're taking it to their adversary, the Boston Red Sox. As far as the Central Division goes, with the Cleveland Guardians and the Detroit Tigers, I mean, you look at the wins and losses here. You got teams just above 500, barely above 500, but the Guardians, the Twins, and the Tigers all fighting with each other. The Chicago White Sox continue to struggle, and so do the Kansas City Royals. And then PJ brought up the Athletics, the only team of 30 Major League Baseball franchises that doesn't have a home, right? It just says Athletics online. It doesn't say the city because they don't have a city. They were Oakland. Now they're Sacramento. They're supposed to be Vegas at some point. Will they stay the Athletics? We'll see. But the Athletics are 13-12 to lead that division with the Rangers and the Angels behind them. But everybody's close in this division. Everyone's close right now in the American League West. So that's probably one of the best stories in Major League Baseball, is that the Athletics, the Rangers, the Angels, the Mariners, and the Astros are all within striking distance of each other. The team in last place is 3.5 games back. The difference between the Rangers and the Athletics is a half a game, with the Athletics leading. And then you have the Angels and the Mariners that are close to each other. The Braves continue to impress in the National League East. Last year, they didn't have a great season. Last year, they underwhelmed a lot of people. This year, they're 17-8. This year, they're 5 games ahead of the closest team to them, which is not Philly, not the Mets. It's Miami. So this division is completely flipped. And I know it's early in the season, but it's just interesting to see these storylines of the National League East, with the Braves and the Marlins, who were at the bottom last year, now shifting to the top, the Nationals being in the middle, the Phillies being 8.5 games out of first place in the National League East, and the Mets joining them at 8.5 games back. The Phillies and the Mets have double the amount of losses that they have wins. They're 8-16, both of them, overall. And then the Cincinnati Reds, they lead the Central. That's what they're used to doing. But the Chicago Cubs are only a half a game behind them. The Milwaukee Brewers, I shouldn't say that. The Milwaukee Brewers are typically leading it. Cincinnati somewhere within the mix. But the Milwaukee Brewers, are typically the team that are leading the National League Central in modern history. But right now, the Milwaukee Brewers are at the bottom. But this division is extremely tight. Everybody in this division is 2 games or less out of first place. Cincinnati Reds are there. The Cubs are a half a game. The Cardinals and the Pirates are a game and a half. The Brewers are 2 games back. This division is closely contested with better records than we're seeing in the National League West. In the National League West, you got records that are just above 500, 500, or below 500 with those teams close. In the NL Central, every team has a winning record, and they're within 2 games or less of each other within that striking distance. And then PJ brought up the San Diego Padres. The Fathers are in first place. They're right there with the Dodgers at 16-8, the opposite record of the Mets and the Phillies. The Padres and the Dodgers, 16 wins, 8 losses. The Diamondbacks are only 2 games out of first place with a record of 14-10, hanging tough. The Rockies are where they typically have been, which is in last place. And the Giants are 11-13, 5 games out of first place. So some of these storylines make sense, right? Some of the things like the Yankees and what they're doing, the Guardians. But then there's other storylines like the Braves and the Athletics and the Padres that have been pleasant surprises for their fan bases. So with that being said, PJ, I hand it back to you.
Well, I'm really pissed about something, and that's this ABS system here for calling balls and strikes. I know that the new regime in baseball and probably in all sports are using this analytics for everything, and I'm just a purist from way back with any sport. I don't want to see the changes. I don't like the changes that they're making, mainly because, frankly, the ABS system is taking the game away from the umpires. Umpires have got a job to do. Sure, they're marginal sometimes. Sometimes they'll miss a call, sometimes they won't. But they're there to keep the game moving. Now, all of a sudden, every other pitch or every other batter, they got to tap their hat, which means they got to challenge the ball or a strike, goes up to the roof, comes back down again. Either they change the call or affirm it. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous. The umpires have a difficult time as it is. Now, if you have a sliver of the ball into the strike zone, it's a strike. An umpire wouldn't call that because it's outside the strike zone. Yeah. It's the strike zone is the plate and the black on the plate. If you're going to do this now with a little baby slivers here and there, you're going to have to increase the plate by 2 or 3 inches just to get the right calls. It sucks. It's terrible. And I tell you, if I was, it's embarrassing, especially. You got some really, really good umpires out there. I mean, we're past the Martinez and Joe West guys, the clowns. But you've got to have a good eye, a keen eye, to even call the runners at first base or at third base. Two runners yesterday were overthrown going to first base. They were both safe instead of out. Yeah. The umpires have got to have a chance to call a game. Sure, the managers are going to pitch and scream, "Oh, you did this, you missed that, you did that." It's not working out for me. I don't want to see a player step out of the back tap the top of his head, and then they come in with a different call. The black of the plate is there for the umpire to either use it for as a strike zone or not. The white part of the plate is the plate. If you're going to do this little nonchalant stuff with an inch here or a half an inch there, it's not a strike. It's a ball. And if they think that that's helping the game, they're wrong. Because I want to see the umpires run the game. Umpires are supposed to be seen and not heard. That's all. Let them call the game. If you strike out on a slider in the outside part of the plate, it's a strikeout. Don't go up and check and see if it's a ball or not. If it's a half an inch on the plate, it's a strike, and you're out. Come on, this sucks. This sucks, Daniel. It's really. I have MLB thanks to MT. I love MLB. I love watching my baseball on a daily basis. But the more I look at it, and the more I try to figure out what's happening in the heads of these idiots that are running the baseball, they've turned a beautiful game sour. Baseball is a beautiful game when played right. Kids run, they throw, they steal, they hit, they catch, everything that they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And if you're going to let a call of a half an inch on the plate spoil a game, I think you are. And I hate to say that, but I think you are. I'm not in favor of it. The people the listener will probably say, "Oh, Poppy Joe, you're an old fuddy-duddy." Well, I am. I mean, I want to see the umpires call the game on the plate. That's all. That's all.
Yeah,
now, you can retort on that, but I have something else I want to talk about too.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Sometimes the best of the game is left where no one can see it. Fortunately for me, I have MLB.
Right.
Last week, I saw the series between the Angels and the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Mike Trout and Aaron Judge put on a hitting clinic. For the 4 games at Yankee Stadium, Judge hit 4 home runs. Trout, in the same 4 games, hit 5 home runs. I'm thinking to myself, talk about being pure. This is as pure as you're going to get. These are 2 future Hall of Famers that just turned the clock back, for Trout especially. He hasn't been doing well at all the last couple of years. He hasn't been well. He is well now. He's lost some weight. He's running around center field the way he wants to do. And he's hitting the hell out of the ball. His manager, who was a new guy, Scott Service, a new guy this year, he had a meeting with Mike before the season started. He says, "Mike, what do you want to do?" Imagine that. An umpire asking a player what he wants to do. But that's what separates Trout with the rest of these players. He has that about him. He's a king in the game. He says, "Scott," he says, "listen, I want to play center field and I want to hit." He says, "Okay, that's it." You put him in center field, and that's where he is, and he's hitting.
Yeah.
Man, give him a break every once in a while. I mean, his legs are slow, but he runs after it, catches it, does the things he wants to do. But just the game for a little bit slowed up for him last week. And the people were watching those games saying, "Gosh almighty, where has Mike Trout been the last couple of years? And what is he doing? He's absolutely raking the ball." What they were doing is when the opposing player went around the bases, they would tip their hat to each other. Judge would tip the hat to Trout in center field, and Trout the same thing right field for Judge. Just gave me chills. That gives me chills thinking about it right now. That's the purity of the game that I want to see. I don't want to see these baby 1-inch calls, half an inch call off the plate. It's in the strike zone. It's a strike. It's not a strike. Let the umpires play it. If I'm the umpires, I say, screw it. I'll walk off. I don't need to do this. Bring in your AAAs or your AA umpires. I'm not going to handle this anymore. Yeah. And these guys have a hell of a pension too. So, I didn't mean to rant it like that, but this is a particularly important for me because I am such a purist to go back to the days of Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford and Sandy Koufax. I mean, that's pure. What we're seeing now is not pure. If they let the game alone, let the kids run and play and jump and catch and steal and whatever, The last night judge, who was 6'7", 265 pounds, stole second base from a left-handed pitcher. Left-handed pitcher's getting ready to pitch. He's looking straight at Judge.
Yeah.
Judge took off, stole the base. So athletes like Judge and Trout don't come along very often. And folks, if you get a chance to catch Trout, do it, because it's worth the price of admission just to see him patrolling in center field and hit the ball. Now he could go into a slump and wind up in a pooper, but I don't think so. The Angels actually don't have a bad team, and their leading pitchers, Jose Sarreno's has got five wins and 5 starts with a .24 ERA. There are good things about the game of baseball. Unfortunately, the ABS system is not wonderful.
Well, to give an update on the ABS system, let y'all know where things are at. We did this a little while ago. I'm going to do it again. If for the ABS Challenge leaders on the batting side of things, Teoscar Hernandez of the Dodgers, he has 100% success. He has challenged as a batter 4 times. He has won all 4 of those challenges. Pete Alonso has he's won 5 times out of 6 that he's challenged. Xander Bogaerts of San Diego has won 4 out of the 5 he's challenged. Mike Trout has won 3 out of the 4 he has challenged, and so on and so forth. I want to take a look at the pitchers here. Now, the pitcher challenges, there hasn't been a ton, but Freddie Peralta of the Mets, he was successful on the one he challenged. Max Fried was successful on the one he challenged for the Yankees. Chris Bassett of the Orioles was successful on his one. Casey Mize of Detroit was successful on his one. Hogan Harris was successful on his one for the Athletics. And I want to look at the those that have been least successful of the top 20 that they have. Jose Caballero of the Yankees for a batter, he's gotten 5 right out of the 9 he's challenged, so he's just a little bit over 50%. And then pitcher-wise, there hasn't been a lot of pitching challenges, but Gregory Soto of the Pirates, he challenged 2 of them, and he was wrong on both. So that's a little update on some that haven't been right at all, pitching-wise. But the pitchers haven't really challenged too much. It's more of the batters and the catchers. The best catcher right now for 100%, there's 4 of them. P.J. Higgins of the Reds is successful on all 4 of his ABS challenges. Adrian Del Castillo of Arizona is 3 for 3. Travis d'Arnaud of the Angels is 2 for 2. Jefferson Cuero of the Brewers is 2 for 2. Mitch Garver of the Mariners is 9 for 10. JT Realmuto of the Phillies is 6 for 7. Dylan Dingler of Detroit is 11 for 13. Carson Kelly of the Cubs is 10 for 12. And then Hunter Goodman of the Rockies is 16 of 20. Those that are, the top 20 have at least a 70% success rate for their ABS challenges for catchers. Agustin Ramirez of Miami, 17 of 24, has the worst of the ones I'm looking at here, 70.8%. Gabriel Moreno of Arizona, 5 for 7, to note him as well. The team that is the worst right now when it comes to ABS challenge rankings here, or ratings here, the team that is absolute worst, which is 35.1% effective, the Washington Nationals. The second worst, the Blue Jays, the Rangers, the Rays. The best team when things started off this season for the ABS challenge, the team with the highest success rate, has not changed. My Arizona motherfreaking Diamondbacks, son, are the number 1 team in ABS challenge success. They have not challenged as pitchers. Catchers are 69.2% effective. Batters are 53.3%. The Arizona Diamondbacks, with the new ABS challenge system, are the best team in the country as far as their success, 63.4% successful. The closest team to them, the Athletics, that are 54.8%. So there are teams that have gotten good at it, but PJ, over the first few weeks, the Arizona Diamondbacks have been the best team at challenging.
That's true. One thing I want to bring to your attention is that when a pitcher's not going to challenge an umpire, it's simply not going to be. If they do, they're stupid.
It's rare.
Because that umpire's looking at this kid, and he's got to look at him face away 90 pitches at least during the game if he's a starting pitcher. Now that you think that pitcher's going to get an outside call for a strike? No. Now the catcher's a big deal because he's not facing the umpire.
Yeah.
He's catching the ball. He doesn't. He's all he does is put up his hand if he wants another ball because the ball's out of the play because it's dirty. You know, it's a big difference. Umpires have got long memories, and those guys that are you just recited to sometimes during the year, sometimes they're going to get a call that's going to cost them, and you don't do that with umpires. Let the umpires run the game. That's all they do. Why do we have to take 5 minutes out to see if a guy was out or first at first base when he was already adjudicated by the umpire? And if it's I was pissed at Trout last week.
Yeah. 2
calls right in a row. He tapped his head. He was right both times because he's Mike Trout. But I don't want to see that. You know, if it's you got to look at the expressions on some of these guys' faces, especially if they're called out. If they're called out at a pitch that's a half an inch in the strike zone, they're dumbfounded. They're flabbergasted. All you can do is just put your bat down, your hat, get your glove, and go play in the field. That's not baseball to me, Daniel. I don't agree with that. If I was in a major league city, I would not pay to go see these players play the way it is. The way the game is now. I'm not rebuking the players. The players are taking advantage of whatever edge they can have. Yeah. And look, when you're dealing, especially with someone like Mason Miller, who doesn't throw anything but strikes at 105 miles an hour, you got to have a little edge. But it's a head game between the pitchers and the catchers. The pitchers, the catchers and the batters, it's a little head game in there. But as a professional hitter coming up through the minor leagues, just about everyone that you talk to or know about can hit a fastball. Yeah. The other pitchers, not so much. Like, for instance, Ohtani has 7 pitches that he throws for strikes. I mean, if you're up there at the plate and you're screwed if you don't know what's coming, and you got to guess because his windup is the same, his motion is the same. His hands are huge for a big man. It envelopes a ball. He can put his fingers any which way that makes the ball go left, right, up, down, and be drowned. I just wish that the people would understand that I see it, and people of my generation see it as a purist. That's all. There was nothing wrong with the game 50 years ago. There was nothing wrong with the game 10 years ago before they had instant replay. There's nothing wrong with the game now, even if you have ABS system. I don't like it, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
Well, the thing is that we're living in a world where, people want to utilize technology more and 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 more because people are lazy and people want to question everything. We're living in a society where everything is questioned. Everything is questioned. I've jokingly said, if Jesus walked the earth right now and he went into a crowd full of 100 people and he took water and he turned it into wine in 2026, people would be watching videos of it going, no, that was doctored, that's AI, that didn't happen. No, it's just like the look of it. It's how they did it. It's the angles. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a magician. Like, people question.
That's sacrilegious, but it's funny.
Right. People question so many things in today's world because they lean on technology. What they don't understand is technology is man-made. Anything made by man is not going to be 100% effective all the time. Cars have defects. Things that like refrigerators have defects. Washer dryers have defects. Computers have defects. I had a laptop for a little over 2 years, and it totally was defect. It had a defect that nobody could figure out. Nobody could figure it out. Just one day, it stopped working. And I had to spend $1,000 to get a new computer because that computer just decided it didn't want to work anymore when it worked every day. Technology has defects. It does, because human beings are not perfect. When we create something, it's not like God creating it. Okay? If God gave us the opportunity to create this earth, it wouldn't look as pretty. It wouldn't be as beautiful. It wouldn't be as consistent. It might be okay, but there's a reason why anything a human being makes has the chance of not working at some point. And when I look at technology now, you go into the grocery stores and you got 20 rows for cashiers, but there's only 8 working. So people get upset. So what do? They don't hire more people. They don't bring more people in. They create self-checkout. So now of the 8 cashiers that showed up of the 20 lanes, now we have 10 self-checkout. Now everybody's going to self-checkout. So now you're going to have less and less cashiers because people can just go check out by themselves. We're shifting people into man, machine, man, machine, man, machine. Go to the car wash. Don't have to talk to anybody. Put your credit card in, do it, go in, hope for the best because there's nobody there to help you. If something happens when you're inside of there, if something happens with the track, if you get locked in the car wash, there's no human being there because man, machine. They don't need anybody. Just have the car wash, do it by itself. There are so many things that we are giving to machines and not giving to people. The ABS system is another piece of that. Yes, sometimes umpires get it wrong. Yes, sometimes they don't see things that are clear to us because we're watching it on replay 1,000,000 times at home. We're zooming in. We're cutting the clip and watching the clip. The umpire's seeing it in real time. But people want to talk about officials don't always get it right. No, they don't. And sometimes it can cost a team a game. Yes, it can. Okay? Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes a ball's a strike and a strike's a ball. Sometimes that's the case. But when we're leaning on these systems, we're saying to the umpire, you got a job, but every game, we're going to let this machine do it. And if the machine doesn't like what you said, the machine's right. 100% of the time. The machine's going to decide if you're right or wrong. I don't like that side of it because, again, I like customer service. I don't want to go to Walt Disney World and go up to the turnstile and have a robot say, "Welcome to Walt Disney." I want somebody to be there to talk to me. Now, again, customer service has gone down. Guest service has gone down. Since COVID and people were taught to stay home, don't go to work, we'll give you money. When you take an irresponsible country and you provide more irresponsibility, they're not going to all of a sudden wake up and be responsible. When you give people money for doing nothing, they're not going to understand when they have to work for it because whatever has been free, whatever has been given is always going to be free and always going to be expected to be given. We created a society back in 2020 that is weak, that is weak, that is lazy, that doesn't care, and that customer service has gone down. So instead of trying to unteach the negative things, we just put a robot in their place. We'll just put a robot there. We'll just put another robot there. And we are not, people complain about there's not jobs and there's not this and the president didn't create this, president create that. Sometimes a president can't show that there's more people working because they don't want to work. And go to the gas station, there's less people. Go to the movie theater, there's less people working. Go to a restaurant, there's an entire section wide open, but nobody can seat you because nobody's there to work it. I warned everybody of this during COVID. I said, if you allow people to be lazy and you pay them and you give people trophies for doing absolutely nothing, they're not going to come to work. And it's going to affect us all. It's going to affect us that didn't care, and it's going to affect us that did care. It's going to affect the people that think you should work for your money, and it's going to affect people that don't think you have to work for anything, because everyone's going to be inconvenienced at some point, and now that's happening. And I don't want to see this leak into sports. I don't want to have, instead of having refs in basketball, we just have robots that rove the sidelines, and they're doing lasers through the guys, and they're going, "That was a foul. Please stop play." I don't want a robotic thing. I don't want to watch robots play. I don't want to watch robots umpire. I don't want to watch robots ref. I want to see human beings do this. We're so obsessed with technology that we don't even understand that we're utilizing technology to essentially make the human being obsolete. And I know that I got a big rant on this, but the ABS system is yet another example of how we're trying to replace decision making by human beings with a computer. And I don't want to see less human beings, less jobs, less opportunities because we've become obsessed with technology.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you agree with me on some things because I'm from a different era, and you're one of the new, and you take advantage of your education, your computer skills all the time. It's wonderful. Remember the book 1984?
Yeah.
That's what we're going through now.
Yeah.
Computers that run it. Look, we have a computer in our house. We have Alexa. Don't wake up, honey. If I say her name, she wakes up. And she does everything. Mary talks to her all day long. Questions this, question that. What about the weather? What's happening in politics? Who's running who? What's this recipe called for? Everything. If we're sitting here having a discussion about something, we just drop our pen and just say, ask her, and she comes up with everything. Do I like that? I do, because she can't be beat. There's nothing she doesn't know. But who put that there? It was a person that put that there. And she talks to us like a person, but she understands she's not a person. And she makes that very clear to us. So if you come down here, you'll have to have a chat with her. She's really something. Hey, look, it's to me, it's ruining the game, but I'm an old fuddy-duddy, and I guess I can't complain about that. I just want to see. I want to see the best players play the best ball. I want to see the best pitchers. See, hitting is difficult. It's difficult as it is when you give the pitcher advantages of a half an inch or an inch off the strike zone to get you out. Hitting is very difficult to do that. I mentioned Mason Miller. You get up there with a bat and try to hit a 105-mile-an-hour fastball. And if he hits it right on the edge and he gets a 1-inch call, hey, I wasn't going to hit him anyway, but I'd rather try instead of being called out. It's what can I say? I mean, I don't see this in amateur baseball. My Flagler College down here, they just finished, well, we're almost done with their season. The record is 30-15. They got a good team. I don't know if they're going to go very far in the tournaments, but that's pure baseball. They don't take the ball out of the game if it's dirty. That's another thing the umpires do. It was mandated to the umpires that if the ball is an impediment on it, take it out of the game.
Yeah.
If the pitcher throws a down and in slider and it grazes the dirt and gets into the catcher's hand, the catcher has to turn it up. Umpire takes the ball out, puts a new one in. The ball wasn't even dirty, but you can't have impediments. That's what they're telling us to do now. Back in years ago, when you could throw splitters and knuckle curves and spitballs and things like that, if you could get the ball to move off the plate, you were advantaged as a pitcher. You don't need that advantage now because the technocracy is giving you 3/4 of the plate. You got an extra 2 or 3 inches all the way around the plate to call strikes.
Yeah.
And it's not right.
No, I mean, listen.
Right, MP?
At the end of the day, we just want to see that, there's still the human element to this. Yes, it's hard to trust it. Yes, it gets frustrating. Yes, they're not always right. But computers are not always right. And computers are going to glitch. We have our national grid up here in central New York. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, I called them and I'm like, my energy use has gone down. Why hasn't my price gone down? Well, you're using this much. And I'm like, how could I have used that much? I traveled most of that month. And I'm going back and forth with them. And then my mom has her meter read, and they find out that the new digital meter was incorrect. It was sending back the wrong readings and charging more. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, are the digital readers going to be accurate? Then I find out my mom's is inaccurate. Well, I think my price is too high. So if my mom's is inaccurate, it stands to reason that there's other ones around central and upstate New York that are also inaccurate. So maybe you should check them. What is that? Technology. We're going to do a digital one instead of having to come out and read your meter. Why? Because we don't want to have the humans do it. Why? Because we don't want to pay for the gas. Why? Because we don't want to hire these people. And then the digital reader was wrong. My mom should be paying maybe $100 this or $200 that. She's paying $400. For how many months? And then they go, oh yeah, it's wrong. And then what do they tell her after that? Well, we have no idea what to charge you because we got to start you at zero because nothing was right. Again, technology is not always going to be right. Do I use technology to my advantage? Of course I do. I will find a way. By the grace of God, I will find a way. Because you say, well, Dan, you're on the internet, you're doing this. Yes, but I've had issues with technology. I have a wire in my studio that has been in the same place. It doesn't move. But for the last 2 weeks, randomly, it'll cut out my microphone. I don't know why. It's not doing anything. It's not being obstructed. I'm not sitting on it. I'm not standing on it. I'm not pulling it. It's literally doing what it does every day. But it doesn't always work. So we have to adjust. I use technology to my advantage, but I also understand that technology is flawed because it was created by human beings. And if a human being built a perfect car, there would be no industry to fix the car. So they can't create a perfect car because they need to make sure mechanics have jobs. You realize that, folks? Look at the cyclical thing. They're not going to create for you a perfect thing because then there would be no jobs for the people to fix them. So they don't want your brakes to go out when you're on the highway, but they also don't need your brakes to be perfect because they need you to go fix them. So it's like this Russian roulette of going, we want it to work, but sometimes it can't because we need to keep jobs going. So there's a lot of things that come to this technological world and that come to just the world that we live in general of people being greedy and wanting to make sure that you keep coming back. So with that being said, the ABS system, if it helps, great. But I don't ever want to look, and this is what I'm concerned about. I don't ever want to look at a Major League Baseball game and see the batter, see the catcher, and no one behind them except for a screen because the umpire is now digital. And when the ball comes in, this digital thing is just putting up a thing saying ball, strike, ball, strike. I want an umpire to be there, okay? I want to have an umpire that maybe I didn't like his call 3 games ago or 10 games ago or last year, so I go up to him and I tip my hat, and I just kind of mess with him a little bit. I go, what's up, Bill? We feeling better today? Did your wife yell at you today? Because if your wife yelled at you today, I don't know if you're going to have a clear game. Like, is your wife call your wife before I get up to bat. Tell her that you love her. You know, I would mess with him a little bit and have some fun. But with that being said, PJ and I are going to take a step aside. In hour number 2, we're going full-on NFL draft. I got the Bortles on here. I got the jersey ready. Al Romano, Pittsburgh Panther college football national champion who played with Tony Dorsett, is joining me tonight. The leader of the Beeville Bills Backers Club, for the president of that, Jeff Cook, is going to be joining me. So Jeff Cook, Al Romano, and myself on stage, on location, Pizza Man. You thought, if I don't go to the draft, Dan, how am I going to enjoy it? I'm not going to have any live on-site thing if I'm not in Pittsburgh. Lies. Because we are bringing the draft to you. We are going to Pizza Man. We are going to be predicting the draft from 7 to 8. We'll be giving our mock draft. And then we're going to stay on air. And we are going to react to the picks that come in. The NFL draft is coming to Central and Upstate New York in a way that you've never had it. As Wake Up Call converges on Pizza Man tonight, 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, April 23rd, starting at 7 p.m. We'll take a step aside for a fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and when we come back, PJ and I will continue the conversation here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I am very proud to bring to you the voices of Gray's Craze in Clay, New York, as we unveil for the first time ever their official commercial.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer. And we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. You just heard about Great Lakes Honda City. You could find them on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday for sales and service, and open all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. It is NFL Draft Day. Today is the official day to bring us into the NFL Draft. Round 1 is happening today, April 23rd. Rounds 2 and 3, April 24th. And rounds 4 through 7 on April 25th. April 25th, for me personally, is setting up to be an insane day. My little sister is going to be fighting for the opportunity for Lemoyne to host the women's lacrosse postseason tournament in the NEC. So that's happening April 25th. Colgate has their spring game for football on April 25th. And on top of those things happening, there is also going to be an event I'm doing in the morning on April 25th for student athletes in the football world here in Central and Upstate New York. There's like a million things happening on April 25th. So, and the NFL Draft is finishing up. So I hope that you all are having yourselves a great week. The weekend is setting up to be amazing. I am one of those crazy people that will watch the draft all the way through. I will also record the draft so I can go back and see what I missed. I will watch round 1, 2, 3, and 4 through 7 on that busy Saturday to the best of my ability. Binghamton Women's Lacrosse, also, if they win, they're going to go to the postseason, and that's happening on April 25th. So this Saturday is going to be crazy busy, and I am so excited for all the great stuff coming up around the country and, of course, here in Central and Upstate New York. PJ, draft day is a big day for me. I love the draft. I got a bunch of friends that are going into the draft that are hoping to hear their names called within the next 3 days, and I will be on site on location at Pizza Man with 2 friends in Cookie and Al Romano tonight, as I mentioned before. So we don't just do the draft, we do the draft, as we will be on site on location giving our mock draft I will give all of my predictions for the entire first round. Last year, I did it from Italy, laying in bed in the middle of the night because it was 6 hours ahead of time. I stayed up to see that Travis Hunter was drafted by the Jaguars, and I had people messaging me at 2 o'clock in the morning Italy time as if I was the general manager of the Jaguars. So I want to thank you all for the appreciation and the respect and the kindness that you gave. But this is a massive day, PJ. I love this day. I love the NFL draft. Are you excited? You're going to be watching tonight.
It's going to be fun. It's fun. I have one more thing, Daniel. I know you. I don't want to belabor the point, but if we're going to have these robotic people, can they throw a manager out of the game by arguing a ball's a strike?
Yeah.
Or a call at first base?
Yeah.
Who's going to throw the managers out of the game? No more.
Yeah.
Because the managers can swear all they want, jump all over the place, but no one can throw them out. Okay.
Yeah.
Get on the football. All right. Get on the football.
So, yeah, I mean, it's funny what you said there because, you know, if there is no umpire and it's just a robot, who's the manager going to fight with, you know? And can they break the robot? Can they come out with a bat and just knock it into the robot? We shall see, you know. But, yeah, that would be interesting. Please get out of the game. And it's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Man versus machine, baby. Let's have Terminator on the field of Major League Baseball. It's like, you know, you come out here. I mean, where's Arnold Schwarzenegger when you need the guy? But I mean, this is just insane.
I just saw yesterday where a robot raced for a half a marathon and beat regular runners by 5 minutes.
Of course they did.
A stand-up robot
Yeah.
ran a half a marathon.
And let me tell you this right now. If robots are running, you better learn how to run faster. That's all I'm going to tell people. Because any movie ever made about artificial intelligence or robotics has warned us that what we create will be our demise. Every movie, Terminator, all of those, Age of Ultron and Avengers, it has been iRobot. There's so many movies that have been made to go, hi, America, stop being stupid. But, you know, and as well, then let China do it. Let China have a bunch of robots overtake its country. I don't want that to happen, but I don't want to mirror China by any stretch of the imagination. Because here's the thing about robots. They don't have hearts. They don't bleed.
Right.
Okay?
That's
You
right.
can't, people are like, oh, if I have a robot in my house, I'll just shoot it. You can't shoot it. It'll bounce off. Like, you know what I mean? And if a robot decides to choke you in the middle of the night, how are you going to break away from metal? So, I mean, it's just common sense, folks. It's like, well, you know, I'm lazy and I want a robot to be my wife and I want a robot to clean my house and I want a robot to be my dog and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, at any given time, you can reprogram that thing to bite you, attack you, strangle you, hit you. Be smart, people, okay? The last thing that I want to see is a manager out there screaming in the face of a robot, because I'm always going to hope the manager wins, even if the manager's wrong. Joe Torre's not going to mess around with that. So that's just how it is. Back in the day, if Joe Torre had to fight with a robot, that would have been funny. So we are here for the NFL draft, and I'm very excited about it. And Roger Goodell will be coming up to the podium. It won't be a robot. Hello and welcome to the NFL. No, that's not going to happen here. We're not going to have any of that. Welcome. So it's not. It's going to be in Pittsburgh tonight, which is ironic because Al Romano, who's going to join me for my draft live on site broadcast with Wake Up Call at Pizza Man, is a national champion from the Pitt Panthers. So the draft's in Pittsburgh. I'll have someone from Pittsburgh history with me and Al Mother Freaking Romano. And very happy to have that going on tonight. But the draft's going to be happening, PJ, round 1. And the consensus number 1 overall pick is that the
Raiders.
That they'll be taking Fernando Mendoza, who I covered, who I interviewed, who I've had on the show multiple times. Your thoughts on the number 1 overall pick? Is there any chance that the Raiders don't take Fernando Mendoza?
No, they've been planning this for quite some time, but you know, it really ESPN should allow the Boomer to come on just to say the first pick for the Raiders. That's what the Boomer needs to be doing, but not going to do that. Fernando, Mendoza,
Yeah.
he's a unique person. I've read a lot about him in the last couple of days. He's an extraordinary athlete, very smart, straight A student. He actually graduated. How about that, Daniel? Graduated from college. Jeez, some of these clowns can't even write their name, and they can't graduate from college. The Raiders made a very, very, very good move a couple of weeks ago when they signed Kirk Cousins to be their quote franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Not for anymore, but Kirk Cousins is going to be the teacher for Fernando, and this kid's already jumped on it. He's got his text number. They're going back and forth. They're talking football all the time, and it's good because he admires Kirk Cousins. Who doesn't admire Kirk Cousins? He's a hell of a quarterback. Been around for years.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he's probably old enough to be Fernando's father, for crying out loud. But he's extraordinary. He's got a great offensive mind, and he's running everything through Fernando.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we're going to see Fernando during the season sometime, unless Kirk gets hurt. But there's going to be a lot of talking on the sideline. Be a lot of the little computers they run around with all the time. That's another thing. They don't even call their own plays anymore. The computers call the plays.
Yeah.
I like Fernando as this. I think, but don't get me wrong. I mean, for the last 3 months, we've known that this kid was going to be the number one draft. And when the Las Vegas got Kirk Cousins, that was a nail right there.
Well, and the thing is too, when I said this was interesting, just how, and I'm grateful for this, but I feel like God puts me in places where I end up being like exactly in these very unique situations. The president of the Raiders, Sandra Douglas Morgan, just so happened to be in Miami when the college football playoff national championship handoff happened, where Miami hands it off to Las Vegas because Vegas has it for the 2026-27 season. So Sandra Douglas Morgan is in the building, and she's standing at the podium, and then right before she was there, Fernando Mendoza was doing the morning after press conference for Indiana winning a national championship. And I said, there is no way, shape, or form that Fernando didn't pass Sandra in the hallway and she didn't say, "I'll see you in a few months." And now she finally and I honestly, folks, I'm telling you this right now, I feel like that's what we're going to hear. She's going to be like, "Well, yeah, he knew and I knew." But I just found that really interesting that here I am, I could be anywhere in the world, and I'm in Miami covering the college football playoff, and here's Sandra Douglas Morgan and Fernando Mendoza on January 20th. And I just thought to myself, there's no way that she doesn't pass him and go, "Hey, you want to just you want to just go take the physical now with our staff because we're going to be drafting you in 3 months."
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see this finally happen and how unique it is that, they were in the same place after he won a national championship. She just so happens to be there because Vegas is going to be hosting the college football playoff this upcoming season. So funny how that happens. Vegas is hosting the championship this year. Miami just hosted it. Fernando's from Miami. He just won it in Miami and gets to cross paths with the president of the Raiders. So
that is cool.
Fernando's going to be the number one overall pick. And then from there, we'll see. There's been a bunch of different things that have come up. The belief that the Jets are going to take an edge rusher or somebody on the defensive side. The Jeremiah Love conversation, running back out of Notre Dame, that he'll go to the Cardinals, he'll go to the Titans, or he'll go to the Giants. So there's been that conversation. I think the Giants should take care of their offensive and defensive line. Arvell Reese may fall to them. Then the Cleveland Browns have an opportunity. And where they're going to go, do they go offensive line, defensive line? The Washington Commanders, do they really take Carnell Tate when they already have Terry McLaurin? And then the New Orleans Saints, do they go after offense? Do they go after a wide receiver? Does Kansas City bolster up their defense? The Giants now have 2 picks thanks to Dexter Lawrence going to the Cincinnati Bengals. So now the Giants can go offensive and defensive line, which I think they should, with 2 picks in the top 10. Miami might keep a player in Miami that I know. Francis C.C. Mauigoa, offensive tackle of the Miami Hurricanes, may stay in Miami and become a Dolphin. And then the question becomes from there, what do the Cowboys do? Are the Cowboys going to go to defense? What type of strike are they going to make? Are the Rams going to go to their offensive line? The Baltimore Ravens, do they look to make their defense a little bit stronger here? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, could they take the first tight end off the board? And then the Jets will pick again at 16. And PJ, for the first time, I think ever, arguably, the Jacksonville Jaguars will not be drafting in the first round. And the reason why they will not be drafting in the first round is because they gave up picks last year for Travis Hunter. What are your thoughts on the fact that unless they trade into it, we will not hear from the Jaguars on day one of the draft?
Well, they made that decision to go get Hunter, and now there's, from what I'm reading down here or hearing, is that he's not really too enamored about being just a defensive player. He wants to play both ways. So there was a little talk just last week in the paper about it, about him saying that he'd like to be on both sides of the ball, quote unquote. But they're looking to use him full-time defense, which, it's nothing wrong with that. And he's probably going to now knock away 30 passes and intercept 5 passes. I think that the most important thing to find out up front, and you're going to do this, I'm sure, tonight, and have a ball with that. I think we're going to know for sure just who is the most powerful school in college right now, and that'd be Ohio State. I hate to say that, folks, but that guy up there he has a room full of athletes, and I'm sure that all 4 of these guys from Ohio State are going to go in the first round. As a matter of fact, they'll probably go in the first 15 drafts. So I think whereas we like to spread things out about, check SEC, Big Ten, stuff like that.
Yeah,
he's going to run away with this stuff. And I like, right off the bat, I like Reed to the Jets as an edge right off the bat in the second. Excuse me, the second pick.
And we may see that. I mean, but knowing that the Giants and the Jets are both going to pick twice in the top 16 picks, right? These are 2 franchises that share the same home, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I've been there many, many times, and to have them picking in the first round twice apiece is huge if they do well, right? You roll the dice. The Jets have made a lot of bad decisions, but the Jets have gotten rid of a ton of their players, and they have draft capital for this year and a couple of years to come after this year. So the Jets are going to build through the draft. The Giants can do the same thing now, but the Giants already have their quarterback. They have Jackson Dart. The Jets don't. Are the Jets going to hope that they get Arch Manning next year? Are they already looking to next season? Because the question becomes, PJ, besides Fernando Mendoza, what quarterback do you take in this year's draft? And so if we look at the quarterbacks that are in the 2026 NFL draft right now, obviously we're expecting Mendoza to go first, but I want to name some guys and I want to give some people some information about these guys, because a lot of people don't have this information sitting in front of them, or they haven't decided to look it up. I'm gonna give you some stats and then we'll talk about the guys. Fernando Mendoza, his stats from last season: 3,535 yards, 41 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. The guy he faced in the championship, who I give a lot more respect to than other people do, Carson Beck, 3,813 yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Diego Pavia, who was trying to play college football until he was 47 years old, he is coming out of Vanderbilt, 3,539 yards, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Joe Fagnano, who played up against Syracuse out of UConn, 3,446 yards, 28 touchdowns, 1 interception the entire 2025 season.
Perfect.
Luke Altmaier, Illinois, 3,007 yards, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Ty Simpson from Fly Slamma-Jamma, Bama, 3,567 yards, 28 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Cade Klubnik, who I've covered for many years, Klubnik out of Clemson, 2,943 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Joey Aguilar out of Tennessee, 3,565 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I covered him as well. And then you have Drew Aller out of Penn State, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Haynes King, who I am a fan of, Georgia Tech, 2,951 yards, 14 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Another guy, Baron Morton, out of Texas Tech, 2,780 yards, 22 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And I want to mention Garrett Nussmeier, LSU, 1,927 yards, 12 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So, I mean, PJ, when we look at this, Mendoza's going to go first. But then here's my question to you. Amongst Diego Pavia, Carson Beck, Joe Fagnano, Luke Altmaier, Ty Simpson, and so on and so forth, who's the guy that you take second? Do you take now? And I'm not saying second overall. I'm not saying like the second guy in the first round. I'm not even saying that there's going to be another quarterback picked in the first round. I'm just saying in this draft overall for 2026, if you were to take a quarterback not named Mendoza, do you take Ty Simpson, Luke Altmaier, Joe Fagnano, Carson Beck, Joey Aguilar, Drew Aller? Who do you take?
That's a good question. It's certainly not going to be that little Pavia guy, that's for sure. He's about 3 feet tall, for crying out loud. I don't know how he can play football, but he's a good athlete, great. But, you can't play the game when you're 3 feet tall. I really like Ty Simpson. I think he's from the school that produces good players, great players.
Yeah.
And I think Carson Beck certainly should be mentioned there. I don't think that Beck is going to make the first round. Listen, Carson Beck is a player, man. I mean, he proved himself at Georgia. He proved himself again in Miami. I mean, he's a player. The player's coach.
Yeah.
Simpson, I believe, has got a shot at the first round, probably later in the first round. The Jaguars certainly don't need a quarterback, but I bet they're kicking themselves, maybe thinking that they could get another player to protect their quarterback. But I like Simpson. I think maybe he goes maybe in the teens somewhere.
Yeah.
And Carson Beck probably in the second round.
Yeah, and to me, I think and I said this to Carson Beck when I had the opportunity to interview him. He didn't just go to the championship this year. He's one of the only quarterbacks in the history of college football to lead a team into the CFP. I mean, he might be the only quarterback to lead a team in a CFP national championship, win a championship, get injured, rehab, and go play for another championship with another team. He may be the only quarterback to ever be in the national championship game in the CFP with 2 different teams and have an injury in between that he had to rehab from. And I hear so many people disrespect Carson Beck and, oh, he's overrated, da-da-da. I'm like, okay, let's see you win a national championship, get hurt, get healthy, go to another team, another coaching staff, another system, other skill players, different state, different conference, and get to the national championship once again. And people forget, with 56 seconds left in the game, before he threw that interception, it was a 1-possession game. So, if Indiana's that good, how good was Carson Beck in Miami? And by the way, we talk about Ohio State, but Miami is probably going to have 3 players drafted in the first round. Francis Cece Maui-Goa, offensive tackle for Miami. Ruben Bain Jr., defensive end for Miami. Akeem Mesidor, defensive end for Miami. They've all been on my show. CC was on my show before the season even started and during the season. Akeem Mesidor was on my show before the season even started and during the season. Ruben Bain Jr. has been on my show. And I told you all before this draft even happened, before we even got here, I told you at least 3 months ago that Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor would both be first-round picks on the defensive side. Am I surprised that Maui Goa is probably going to go in the first round? No. But, PJ, let's talk about Miami for a second, because not only did Carson Beck do something that is almost impossible, which is go to the national championship with 2 different teams, 2 different conferences, 2 different times with an injury in the middle, but let's also, so I want to get your thoughts on Carson Beck, and if you think he deserves more credit than he gets. And then secondly, what do you think about the fact that Miami might have 3 players drafted in the first round?
I think you're right, because on my little sheet of paper here, that my part of my notes, I have the 3 Miami people going 9, 11, and 15, which is probably pretty close to what it is. There's a good. I think this is true. I'm going to say it anyway. Carson Beck was recruited to go to Miami, and they talked to him about how you're going to get all your grades and everything up. He says, I don't have to, because I already graduated. So that means he's on Miami on the fly. Doesn't have to go to school. All he's got to do is practice football, see if he can make $55 million in the NFL. That's the same Carson Beck. So, hey, he's a smart guy. Good move. I think you're right about that. I think that these 3 Miami guys are going to be right in there.
And credit to them, credit to their work, credit to what the Miami Hurricanes have become under Mario Cristobal. I mean, he's an alum. He believes in the program. He believes in what they're capable of. He has that connection to Jimmy Johnson. And, now in this era of the Miami Hurricanes, you got to get used to it, because they're a team that doesn't rebuild, they reload. They bring in a quarterback who's played somewhere else, and that guy, in Cam a couple seasons ago, ends up being the number 1 overall pick. Now you got Carson Beck. Carson Beck will go in the draft. And I'm excited to see what Miami's going to do to reload now. I do want to ask you this, PJ. The arguable top 2 running backs available in the draft are both from Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. The number 3 overall, Mike Washington Jr. from Arkansas. Where did he come from? Central New York. Where did he play? Cicero, North Syracuse. Whose studio did he sit right here in multiple times? Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here in the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Mike Washington Jr. of Central New York, of CNS, is projected as being in the top 3 running backs in the entire nation going into the NFL. And this man took a road. He didn't get recruited by Syracuse. He never got an offer by Syracuse. They just told him to keep working, and they saw his film. He went to the university at Buffalo. Then Buffalo's coaching staff changed. He went in the portal, came out of the portal, stayed at Buffalo. Then he went in the portal and went to New Mexico State for a season, and he was pulling guys into the end zone in overtime. Then he goes to Arkansas, bets on himself, gets death threats from Arkansas fans. Death threats from Arkansas fans. And he ends up being one of 5 players in the SEC this year that ran for 1,000 yards. And he was the only player in the SEC, not Kejuan Lacey, not anybody else. He was the only player in the SEC to get 1,000 yards with less than 200 carries. So he was one of 5 to get to 1,000 rushing yards in the SEC. He was one of 1 to do it in less than 200 carries. Then he goes and he runs the fastest time for a running back in the entire NFL Combine this year. And he has a top 5 finish of running backs in the NFL Combine historically. So Mike Washington Jr. is making history. He's leading the SEC. He's the best running back speed-wise in the NFL Combine. He's from Central New York. And this man who bet on himself, who believed in himself, who I talked to when he was a skinny, young 17-year-old kid, to sitting here with a young man not a long time ago, Mike Washington Jr. has taken the nation by storm, and he went from death threats to now being one of the top prospects in the NFL draft.
That's a very good story. I wasn't too aware of his accomplishments. It's true. But I think if you're talking about running backs, it starts and ends with Jeremiah Love. For some reason, some of the prognosticators are not puffing him up as much as they should. I think he's the best running back to come out in the last 3 years or so. He can do everything. I mean, he can run between tackles. He can run wide. He can beat linebackers. He can beat defensive backs. He can catch the ball out of the back. He can do a lot of things. I mean, I don't know why, for some reason, he's not up there more than he should.
Yeah.
He's solid. I mean, he's a big guy, 220, 6'1", something like that. He's going to be able to run hard. And he comes from a fair program, although Notre Dame isn't one of our favorite schools, is it? But I think Jeremiah Love is probably going to go third to Arizona, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have Jeremiah Love either going to Arizona or going to Tennessee. The hopes for the Giants that he would fall to them, but he may not. I mean, we don't typically see running backs chosen high in the draft in recent history because the NFL has treated them like a dime a dozen, which I think is stupid because I don't agree with that. I don't just think it's stupid because I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid because it doesn't make sense. Derrick Henry was written off, and look what he did. Saquon Barkley was written off, and look what he did. So this whole mentality of they're not good when they get older, or we could just go find another one, that's not the case. And if we see a running back taken in the top 3, that's something that we've gone into drafts where we're not seeing a running back until the end of the first round, top of the second round. So this will be really awesome for Jeremiah Love, whoever takes him. The Jets aren't going to take him because the Jets don't have much, but they do have a running back. But the Cardinals, the Titans, or the Giants, somebody's going to lick their chops and take him there. We know Ohio State, and I mentioned this before, Ohio State's got a bunch of players that are going to be at the draft. When we look at the people that are actually going to be in attendance, the 2026 NFL Draft attendees that I want to make mention of here, the full list of the 16 players that are going to be attending the draft, this is who you have. You have David Bailey, defensive end out of Texas Tech. He could be picked by the Jets or the Giants, but he'll be playing in the same place. You have Reuben Bain Jr. of Miami, defensive end, who I mentioned before. Mansour Delane of LSU, cornerback. We have Keldrick Falk, defensive end out of Auburn. Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. Mekhi Lemon, who won the Biletnikoff Award that I voted in, wide receiver out of USC. National Award for the nation's top wide receiver. Francis C.C. Mauigoa, who I mentioned out of Miami, offensive tackle. We have Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Jeremiah Love will be there, running back out of Notre Dame. Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama. And Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Those are the people that are going to be on site in Pittsburgh for the draft, the 16 attendees. The ones I haven't mentioned, I didn't mention for a reason because this team will have the most on site. 5 Ohio State players are going to the draft to be there to hear their name called. Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. Arvell Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State, edge, but Arvell Reese, linebacker, edge rusher, Ohio State. And then you have Caleb Downs, cornerback out of Ohio State. They're all going to be on site, and Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. So Ohio State, of the 16 players that will be attending the draft on site, on location, 5 of those 16 are from Ohio State, which is almost a third of those attending the draft. Your thoughts on that, PJ, and the fact that we might hear all of their names in the first round or most of their names in the first round?
That's exciting for the guys. I'm sure they're looking forward to it. The only thing that I don't like with these kids is how they dress. They dress like clowns. I don't know why they don't have someone to dress them. They look like clowns to me. But anyway, there's something I read just before we got on the air that apparently Dallas and Cleveland may have a trade. Dallas at number 5 and Cleveland at number 12. What's up with that?
Yeah, so there's a projected trade that could happen here. So I'm going to take a look at this right now when they talk about the Cleveland Browns. So NFL trade for the 2026 draft as we take a look at this right now. So if there's projected trades that could be happening. So you will see these on some of the mock drafts on if this is going to happen. So we shall see if it does. As of right now, the Browns have that pick, but there could be some trade calls that happen between some of these teams, and there are some projected ones. Nothing is set in stone yet. We've seen some drafts where there's been a ton of trades. It's been hard to... I think there was one first round where there was so many trades that it was like ridiculous trying to keep track of who is going where. So we will be paying attention to it tonight. Again, I will be on site on location with Al Romano and Jeff Cookie Cook. They'll be with me on stage at Pizza Man here in Central New York on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York. Starting at 7 p.m., we will give our mock draft, telling you who we believe is going to go pick by pick in the first round. Then we will stay on the air at 8 p.m. going into the actual draft, and we will let you know the draft as it comes in, and we'll be giving our responses to it. So we're going to be spending a good amount of time at Pizza Man. I hope Jimmy Delia's got some pizza and wings ready for me, because I'm going to need to be constantly fueled throughout this draft. PJ and I will take a step aside for a fast break. We'll talk about the Jaguars coming off of this. No pick in the first round. We'll talk about where the Jaguars do pick and what we think the Jaguars may need right after this inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, what is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
And now a message from Meier's Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you, hanging out where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, we're here with Papa Joe talking about the draft inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. The Jaguars are not drafting in the first round because of their trade for Travis Hunter last year to move up to number 2 from, I believe, being at 7. So the Jaguars not being in the first round is something that is atypical for this team. And, you know, it's just crazy. They're not going to make their first selection until number 56. They will not have a draft. They will not have a pick in the top 55 unless they decide to trade up. So we'll see what happens here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, trading for Travis Hunter's for the pick to get, oh no, they moved up 3 spots from 5 to 2. I thought they were 7. But they moved up from 5 to 2 to get Travis Hunter last year. And with doing that, we know that the Jacksonville Jaguars not picking in the first round is something that we typically don't see them do. I mean, they had the back-to-back number 1 pick in 2021 and 2022 when they drafted Trevor Lawrence at number 1 overall in 2021, quarterback, and then Trayvon Walker, defensive end, in edge rusher, linebacker, whatnot, that hybrid in 2022, number 1 overall. So the Jaguars picks, PJ, they will have 1 pick in the second round, 56th overall. They will have 3 in the third round, 81, 88, and 100. Then they will have 1 in the fourth, 124 overall. They will have 2 in the fifth, 164 and 166. In round 6, they'll have pick 203. And in round 7, they will have 3 picks, 233, 240, and 245. So my question to you, with the Jaguars not picking until pick 56, do you think they'll trade up? Or do you think that they'll stay where they're at and just wait until 56?
I think they'll stay.
Okay.
I did a little research on this a little bit. I'm using a local guy, John Boehner is his name. He's come up with some good stuff. Apparently they like to find, and justifiably so, find some good players between the 3rd and the 6th round. And it's difficult to watch all these players go by and you're sitting there with nothing, although you got a $100 million player on the sidelines that you're going to use. I looked briefly into who I think they're going to drag right first. I think they're going to be looking at Anthony Hill, who's a linebacker from Texas. He's 6'3", 238, very aggressive, very aggressive, urgent mover who loves to hit. And if you're a linebacker or an edge player, that's what he's got to have. So there are other players that they were touting too. But this kid looks like he's going to come off the clock there on for the Jaguars. Going forward, I'm not quite so sure.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're looking
Have you
at.
got Mr. Hill?
What'd you say?
You have Anthony Hill listed?
So, well, with Anthony, I mean, I'll tell you like this. When I look at what the needs are for the Jaguars right now, I would say to you that, obviously there's certain things that I think they have that they don't need, and there's some pieces that I think they do need to look at. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at necessities for the Jaguars, Anthony Hill Jr., who you mentioned here in the mock draft, that he could go to the Jaguars at linebacker. We could see that happening. We could see Anthony Hill, 6'3" linebacker, 238, out of Texas, played at Texas 2023 to 2025, second-team All-America selection 24 and 25, first-team All-SEC selection 24 to 25, freshman All-America selection in 2023, and the Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year in 2023. So there's something to be said about that. Now, other players projected to go in the draft here to the Jaguars: Tyler Anyadim, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M; Joshua Josephs, at edge rusher out of Tennessee; Sam Roush, tight end out of Stanford, a guy that's been on the show. Stanford puts together some good tight ends, so that would be nice for them, as they really don't have a key tight end anymore. Devin Moore, cornerback out of Florida; Colby Young, wide receiver out of Georgia; Diego Pounds, O-tackle out of Mississippi; Robert Spears Jennings, a safety out of Oklahoma; Deshaun Singleton, a safety out of Nebraska; Toriano Pride Jr., a corner out of Missouri; Torian York, a linebacker out of Texas A&M. So let's look at needs for the Jaguars, because that's some of the projected that they could get. Let's look at their depth chart and talk about what the Jaguars need. This is a team that I've covered for 13, 14 years now, at least. So, obviously, your quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. And then you have Bajal Tutin and LaQuint Allen Jr., rookies from last year. They just brought in Chris Rodriguez Jr. They also brought in DJ Davis. At wide receiver, they have Brian Thomas Jr. and Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington. I could see them going after another wide receiver in the later rounds. I could see them using day 3 as a wide receiver day for them. I don't think they should go there within the first. I mean, they have 3 picks in round 3, so if they want to go offensive skill player on one of those picks, I can understand it. But I can also see them going to the last round, and we just lost PJ here for a second, so we'll look to bring him back. But when we look at the Jacksonville Jaguars here, I could see the Jaguars going to a wide receiver, like I said, on day 3, or maybe using one of those 3 third-round picks if they don't trade it. Brenton Strange at tight end, he hasn't been bad. I think they might bring in somebody else, though. I didn't want to downplay Brenton Strange when I said they don't have a true number one. I think a pass-catching guy that, Brenton Strange has done some good things, but they could look at bringing in another tight end, as they've let some guys go over time. And then, I mean, when you look at the offensive line, you have Cole Van Lannon and Walker Little at your left tackle. I would think that the Jaguars want to look at their tackle position. And then Ezra Cleveland, who's been moved around, he's at left guard. Safety, Robert Hainsey. And then you have right guard Patrick McCarry, and then right tackle they just extended Anton Harrison. So I would imagine that the Jaguars have to look at offensive line. They have to look at depth. I would definitely look at left tackle and maybe some of the other positions best available on the offensive line, be it a guard or a center. And then when you look at their DNs, you have Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines-Allen, you have Eric Armstead and Devon Hamilton when we look at the D tackles. And then, Foye Oluwakin at your linebacker position, but moving guys around like a Josh Hines-Allen, who's a hybrid, moving somebody like him around and moving somebody like Trayvon Walker around puts you in a position where now you have to find your linebacker. So I'd imagine that the Jaguars are going to look at drafting a linebacker here in this draft. I would think that the Jaguars are going to look at the position of linebacker. I think they should look at offensive line.
Sure,
I've been talking about their offensive line for a long time. I think the Jaguars need to get some more offensive linemen. They need to bring in some young blood, some depth. And so I would say offensive line is a need. Tight end with Sam Roush, if you can get a guy like that, that would not be bad. And then looking at the linebacker position, like I said, when you have hybrid players like Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen going and putting their hands in the dirt, now you got to figure out who's going to be there with Foye Oluokun, and that's going to be a question mark. Jack Kaiser, Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah. I would think the Jaguars are going to draft a linebacker or two. And then at corner, they might draft three of them. And then when you look at corner, you have Christian Braswell and you have Travis Hunter. Monteric Brown is still with the team. And you look at the slot, Jerrion Jones, a guy that they drafted from FSU. And then their safeties, Eric Murray, Antonio Johnson. I would imagine, in my opinion, if I'm the Jaguars, I'm drafting, and I'm not necessarily in this order, but I'm drafting offensive line, tight end, linebacker, and then secondary, be it corners or safeties. I think they need to do both. So those are my thoughts on the needs for the Jaguars, PJ. I'd love to get your thoughts. And I also want to make this note. I believe that Travis Hunter is better for this team as a cornerback because they have talent at wide receiver. They got a couple guys at wide receiver. So I believe with the guys that they have, plus some guys they might bring into camp and some veterans that they might bring in and whatnot, I believe the Jaguars have more than enough when it comes to wide receiver that Travis Hunter is better for this team at corner because they don't have a true number one corner, but they do have a true number one wide receiver. So I think as much as Travis might want to play two ways, in my opinion, if I'm the Jaguars general manager, he helps me more on the defensive side than he helps me on the offense because I need a starter on the defense more than I need a wide receiver on the offense.
That's true. I lost us there for a little bit. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you see me go?
Yeah, I saw
Okay,
you go.
I'm
So
back.
basically what I said
Am I back?
was, and when I brought you back, though, I gave you,
Jeez.
I gave you the rundown.
I don't know what I missed.
Yeah.
But I know we were talking about Mr. Hill there. I got probably the same outfit you got. I got there's a gentleman by the name of Grayson Halden, an interior defensive lineman at 6'2", 293. Played at Oklahoma for a couple of years. Second team All Southeastern Conference. Registered 8.5 career sacks, 17.5 tackles for loss. That's pretty good. I think that if you can do that playing for Oklahoma and the SEC, you're doing a hell of a job. So I look for him. I know that's away from your offensive line guys.
Yeah.
But if we go to the third person, they got listed as Jake Goldday, the linebacker from Cincinnati, 6'4", 237. Briefly played at Cincinnati, played at Central Arkansas. Is another stud. But those are three defensive guys, Daniel, not offensive guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and that's what I was saying when you were on the break, or when, we lost you there for a second, is that essentially, in my opinion, the Jaguars have to look at offensive line. It's been an issue. It's been a glaring issue that they haven't had five guys that stay healthy, typically year in and year out for the majority of the time together. They've tried guys, they've paid guys, they've drafted guys and paid them a lot, they've extended guys that they drafted, they went and got other guys in free agency that cost a lot of money, and none of those guys are on the team anymore, except for Anton Harrison and like the Ezra Clevelands of the world and Walker Little, who they drafted out of Stanford. But this is a makeshift duct tape offensive line a lot of the times for the Jaguars, so I would imagine that they... So in round 3, on day 2, Friday night, you got to take best available. So whatever's best available to you. In round 2, I can see them taking their linebacker because maybe that's their biggest need. But they have to look at secondary. They have to look at corner. They've gotten a lot of guys later on in the draft. Monteric Brown was a late round draft pick. When you talk about cornerbacks, it's still on the team. So I'm thinking, if you're Jacksonville, your wide receiver, your cornerback, your safety can be later in the draft. They could be day 3. But in day 2, when you have 4 picks, 1 in the second round and 3 in the third, if I'm the general manager of the Jaguars, I am looking to bring in a linebacker. I am looking to bring in maybe multiple linebackers. Offensive line, that's what I'm looking to. Offensive line, linebacker, maybe wide receiver, depending on who's available. And then I'm going to fill the rest of my draft with maybe taking another linebacker if I only take 1 on day 2. And then I'm going to go safety and cornerback. But what do I mean, what am I talking about? I've only covered this team for like 15 years. So, but I mean, Jacksonville, to me, they are a team that it is clear that they have some talent at running back, wide receiver, and quarterback. Where they can stand to gain is to take their linebackers and raise that unit, because Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen are hybrids. And if they're going to be on your defensive line and they're going to be going after the quarterback, then you have to have linebackers behind them that are starters that can play right away. So I would think if I'm Jacksonville on day 2, Friday night, I'm getting 2 linebackers. I'm definitely getting 1. And like I said, with 3 picks in round 3, offensive line, secondary, wide receiver. But that's what they need. That's what they have to go to. On day 3, they're going to fill in those slots, right? They might bring in a bunch of corners and safeties and whatnot, but Jacksonville has to be really smart. And when you have 3 picks in the 3rd round, you can go to different places. You're not just picking one time. So if they stay where they're at, they can say, okay, we got a linebacker in round 2. Now, who's the best available? Well, we got another linebacker and an offensive tackle. Well, this linebacker we like more than this offensive tackle, so bring in this linebacker. Then they bring in an offensive lineman with the next pick in the 3rd round, and then they either go secondary or wide receiver, call it a day. They go into the last day, and they got a bunch of picks. But we'll see if they trade up. They got the 56th overall pick, so it's going to be a while until they draft PJ. They're not drafting on day 1, picks 1 through 32, and then 33 through 55. They're not drafting there either. So it's going to be some time until we see Jacksonville, but I think Jacksonville would be best served to go for a linebacker and then to look at offensive line, secondary, and then wide receiver, tight end.
That's correct. And notice that the 3 defensive guys we talked about are all the hybrid, you call hybrid, an edge people, whatever they call them. One guy just popped up here who happens to be interesting looking. Is Jennings Dunker. He's a guard from Iowa, 6'5", 315. Played at Iowa for 4 years. Imagine that. He stayed in school for all the 4 years and didn't go to a different school, Daniel. He didn't take the NIL money, who probably doesn't have any, and go anywhere. He actually did it. Anyway, he's a Big Ten selection. I think someone like that, who's usable on the offensive line, you can plug him around. Jennings Dunker.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking at Jennings Dunker right now, like you said, somebody that you can utilize in different places. There's another guy that's come up, Jacob Rodriguez, the guy that wore the giant cowboy hat when I was at the Capital One Orange Bowl for Texas Tech in Oregon, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. He could be huge for this team to get a steal like Jacob Rodriguez and pick him in maybe the 2nd round or the 3rd round. So, yeah, I mean, and I'm looking at the same mock draft that you're looking at right now, and all they have are linebacker and offensive lineman, 1 safety. So, I mean, again, this team is a team that I know. It's a team that I've studied. It's a team that I've paid attention to since their institution in 1995. So when I tell you that the Jaguars are going to have to go here, here, and here, I trust that analysis and I trust what I'm looking at. So I'm not surprised that I'm looking at other people's mock drafts and they're leaning here with me saying, yeah, we're thinking offensive line, we're thinking linebacker. But if they can somehow pull off getting a linebacker, 2 linebackers on day 2, I think that would be huge for Jacksonville to do that. Like you said, Anthony Hill showing up here, Anthony Hill Jr., and, looking at him at linebacker. And then, some of these other guys, Jalen Kilgore, that's a safety that they could perhaps have guards on here. Because when you have an interior lineman, they can play left guard, right guard. Sometimes they can play center. And we've had people like Tyler Shatley, they used to be on the team, that were playing all over the place from guard to center. So I think Jacksonville really has to focus on linebacker, offensive line, and then from there, go to your secondary. And if you have a space or 2 left, wide receiver or tight end. I think Brenton Strange is okay at tight end. But the one thing I don't want to see Jacksonville do is go and get something they don't need early. Because day 3, drafting 3 linebackers, like, that's all well and good, but you need to have guys that can start right away. And with some of those guys going to be going in the first round and going early, you got to be smart about who you're going to pick up in day 2 in rounds 2 and 3. So hoping the best for Jacksonville. As always, I also predicted a year in advance that they were going to be in Orlando, but what do I know? So with that being said, Papa Joe, as always, I appreciate your time. Any final notes you want to make on the draft?
I think this is a make or break a year for Walker Little. I jumped on him when he first came in from Stanford because I thought he was the epitome of a left tackle, and he never started the first year. Didn't start the second year. Started last year. He's been wavy a little bit. He has immense talent. I don't know what the problem is. He's certainly smart because he went to Stanford, but I think that he's really going to be. He's got to play real hard to hold his position this year, Daniel.
Yeah.
That's all.
Walker Little's been asked to play in different places, and, we'll see what happens with him here. He has not been a consistent starter on the team, so like you said, he may be one of those players that they let go of, and we'll see as we go forward here into the 2026-27 season. The draft is tonight. It is a few hours away. We will see
you guys have fun.
Man. We will have a great time, and I'll send you the link so PJ can be watching. We'll give a little shout-out to the Goso tonight from Pizza Man. Appreciate you.
See you later, bud.
Talk to you soon. That come from Papa Joe one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We'll take our final step aside on the broadcast here this morning. We thank you for being here. We appreciate you so very much, and we'll round things out right after this.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have the place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family friendly. Some family friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks today and every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and Sundays from 10 to 5 to find singles, packs, boxes, graded cards, and everything that you need, all the supplies, different size sleeves, top loaders, as well as binders, showcases, magnetic cases, so many great things at GG Cards and Breaks that if you've never collected a card before, you can walk in there as somebody who doesn't know where to go and where to start and walk out as someone who has everything they need to start their collection. If you're someone who's collected for a long time, there's no better place to improve and expand that collection. They buy, sell, and trade, and they are truly run from the top down to the best. I mean, to me, it's the best of the best to have Josh and Anthony leading the crew. And I just appreciate all the work that they do. I love that I can be a big kid when I go in there, and I truly value the experience every time at GG Cards and Breaks. We'll see you at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York today. With that being said, I want to show some love as well to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Happy to be with you and happy to have all of the wonderful things that they are offering at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. They have the double drive-thru, and of course, with that double drive-thru, they have the opportunity to serve so many people. They have a massive parking lot, and of course, they also, on top of that, have the giant brick building where you can go in, relax, and get some great things. So there's nothing like Chick-fil-A, truly. It stands on its own, and I appreciate it so very much. So make sure that you go to Chick-fil-A today on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard on 5761 Selly Drive in DeWitt. You can't miss it. And make sure you get those new frosted beverages to go with your original, your spicy or grilled chicken sandwiches. Of course, those nuggets, the mac and cheese, and those shakes. Chick-fil-A is a stop that you need to make today on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I appreciate you being here, hanging out with us where sports meets life, giving our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week to Finn Collins, Baldwinsville Bees baseball player, 3 at-bats, 3 RBIs, and that helping in a 12-2 victory at Liverpool for the Baldwinsville Bees to improve to 4-0 on the season. So shout out to Myers Creek doing our Central and Upstate New York High School Player of the Week from them, exclusively brought to you by Myers Creek. And of course, this week celebrating Finn Collins and the Baldwinsville Bees baseball program. Shout out to Papa Joe and our coverage of Major League Baseball and the NFL Draft happening today up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. And of course, many thanks to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our wonderful partners. Please go and support them at Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Brian's Landing, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, where we will be tonight, April 23rd, for the first night of the draft, starting at 7 p.m. on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, Myers Creek, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Game Point Sports Complex, Avicoli's Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, where I have my sandwich 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on 3709 James Street in Syracuse. You can get the Cuse Mac Mother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and have it like a sandwich. Willow Rock Brewing Company and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub. And, of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. You'll find the Bearcats every single Tuesday during Bearcat time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Find the Bearcats student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni hanging out with us here on Wake Up Call in a way that you won't find anywhere else. And, of course, you can also connect with the Bearcats by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist of over 100 episodes. You will also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. I want to welcome you to the NFL Draft. I am so excited for Mike Washington Jr., for Enrique Cruz Jr., for Damon Barnes, for Trayvon Saunders, for Dan Villari, for Deuce Chestnut, for Devin Grant, for Austin Collins, and Anwar Sparrow Jr., and so on and so forth. For David Reese, I'm happy for every single one of you. Justice Ross Simmons, and I hope everybody gets an opportunity, including everybody that I know. God bless to you all. No stress. Do your best. We'll see you at Pizza Man tonight. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Wake Up Call. And remember, your value lies in how God sees you, not how others see you.